Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today I'm going to show you how this kind of new trick for influence crafting has actually tremendously made influenced crafting so much better. And I'm going to use these fugitive boots as an example. So what we need to do first is get a Hunter's Exalted Orb. So I'm going to go Divines for Hunter's Exalted Orb. Should be 2 div. Yep. We're just going to influence this, okay? Now I'm gonna do the horrible part of rolling for Tailwind. So I'll see you in a bit once I roll this for Tailwind. Here we go. All right, we found Tailwind. You might have seen me roll over highlighted mods a little bit. It's because I put Pierce in my search so that I didn't get stuck in a bit of a trance. So this helped keep me from getting in a trance where I might accidentally roll over Tailwind. So that's why I did that. I also got move speed, surprisingly, which is kind of cool, but also not important. So we're going to go to the bestiary, and there's this beast called Kurashik Chimeral. And these guys make an imprint of an item. And what an imprint does is it will revert it back to its state wherever you made the imprint. The only stipulation is you can only make an imprint of a magic item. So it has to be a blue item. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an imprint of this item. There's the imprint, and this orb will revert my boots back to this state if at any point I need to. In that way, I don't have to roll for Tailwind again, and then I can Regal, Exalt, Exalt, Exalt. I'm looking for, it's kind of a process, let me tell you, but basically what I'm trying to do is, there we go, hit something like Chaos Gems. And okay, so now I can use an orb of dominance, and I missed on Tailwind, so we can revert it back and then make another imprint. We're gonna do this a few times until we can get it to a state that I want it to be in. Okay. So I'm trying to make it so that I don't have too many too many mods on the item when I go for the orb of dominance. Now, yeah. Another thing you can do is this. So if I make an imprint, maybe I'll do this. It might be easier to do this because then I don't have to worry about it later. Just cuts a few of the mods out of the pool. A null, okay. So now we got it on a base boots. And now what I can do is I can sell this imprint. And then I can make a new imprint. And I can take orbs of augmentation. Ooh, a trade. So I can do orbs of augmentation and annuls until I hit an influenced mod. That way it'll already be magic when I go for the orb of dominance, and I'll show you the power of that and how that it can actually be very good to have it like that, and that you can actually guarantee the orb of dominance to hit the right thing once you hit the influence mod. So what we'll do is we'll aug a null if we lose Tailwind, imprint back, make a new imprint, and go again. So we can augment, null, augment, null. We're just looking for any influenced mod. And the prefixes are pretty common on Hunter boots, so they shouldn't take too many tries. There we go. Okay, so we got unaffected by desecrated ground. So now what I can do is I can grab an orb of dominance. And there's this new beast that came out called the Black Morrigan. I think it came out last league. It was either last league or this league. And when you combine it with a Kracic Chimeral, it applies a Hinekora's lock to a magic item. Currently, morrigans are worth 1.2 divines each, and Kracic Chimerals are 1 divine each. But I'm going to use that, apply a lock to this item, so I can tell, okay, that's not going to work. So what we need to do is grab like fusings and jewelers to clear the lock and go again. There we go. So now we have elevated Tailwind on a magic item. So now what I'm going to do is grab my boots back, and I'm going to go buy a specific pair of boots. Bear with me, I have to search for this. So we're probably going to want elevated onslaught. So what I need to do is find, so there's two ways of doing it. You can either just buy elevated onslaught already on boots that are single influenced. Otherwise, you can use a trade filter, which I'll leave in the description because it is a complex trade filter. But basically, we're going to have it have Redeemer influence, and then we're going to have it not have Shaper, Elder, Crusader, Hunter, or Warlord influence. And then we're also going to want it to have Onslaught for 4 seconds on kill, and we want it to be 8 to 10%. And then we're also going to add a count filter, and we're going to have it also include one of the other Redeemer influenced mods. So we want it to have chance to avoid projectiles, or increased effect of non-damaging ailments, or endurance charge on kill, elusive on crit, socketed cold gems, fizzes extra cold, and lastly unaffected by chilled ground. So what we're doing is we're basically searching for a pair of boots that has 2 influence mods, one being the mod that we want and the other one being any mod, so that we can try to elevate the onslaught. So we're going to find any pair of boots, and since these are rare, not magic, I'm not going to try and like null down to make it magic to lock to predict the orb of dominance slam. I'm just going to use an orb of dominance on it and hope it upgrades onslaught. And it didn't. So I've crafted onslaught. Okay, here we go. So yeah, roughly these boots cost like 40 to 50 chaos to get a pair of boots that has 2 influenced mods on it. These can go in my price 15 divines with the rest of my disappointments. Throw those in here. Try again. Surely we hit it on the 3rd try. It's a 50-50 after all. Let's make sure there's only 2 Redeemer mods on here. Okay, we got Onslaught. Great. So now we can go to the Menagerie. And here's the crazy part. So typically what you would do is you would get a whole bunch of these bases together of Elevated, Onslaught, and then you would make imprints of this boot and just keep slamming until you get the suffix you want. But I'm going to show you now all you need is 1 pair of boots and 1 awakener's orb. And then you use morrigans. Okay? Get ready to lose your mind. Let me just grab some extra resources. I have no idea how many tries this will take. So as you can see, I can tell what I'm going to get. And I don't want this. I don't want cold res. I'm looking for tier 1 suppress. Typically a pipe dream. Typically it's like, okay, yeah, if you're lucky, bozo, you know. But if you use the morrigans, you save a whole lot of headache and having to buy multiple bases. Not only that, it's actually cheaper to do it this way. Energy shield recharge rate we do not want. We clear the lock with an orb of fusing and we try again. Now you cannot make an imprint of a locked item. It will not keep the imprint, so don't try it at home. Can answer that for you. It doesn't work. No suffix. So you can also make an imprint and then you could have like slammed that and tried if you wanted to, but then you'd have to go get a new base and elevate it again. When it's actually just cheaper to not spend 3.5 divs on an orb of dominance again and instead just spend the 2 div to just check a new lock. And so we're just going to keep doing this until we find suppress. There's Dex. But yeah, before you used to have to, every time I failed so far, I would have had to buy a new set of boots. I would have had to buy another Orb of Dominance, another Awakener's Orb, imprint the boots back, like, is far more expensive and just a bigger headache. Got cold res on that one. When instead you can just keep locking the boots with morrigans and use the same donor until you find what you're looking for. It's extremely useful. It's so useful. Before I was wondering, like, what would you ever need to lock a magic item for? And the answer is to make a rare item. Poisons you inflict deal faster. No thank you. Try again. Now, of course, depending on how lucky you get or how you're feeling about your odds or how much currency you have, you can settle for a different mod than tier 1 suppress, because tier 1 suppress is still a rare mod, but this helps you get those specific mods way easier. Like, I don't even know if people want suppress on these. Like, there's tier 1 decks. I'm gonna roll over that. Some people might want int if you're doing int stacking trickster, for example, instead of suppress. Although I'm sure suppress is sought after for that build as well. I'm just not sure people use the boots as suppression? My guess is you do. I mean, maybe you're using fractured boots instead for action speed and then not putting Tailwind Onslaught on your boots. And then of course you can keep track, you can do this for Profit Craft too. You can keep track of how much currency you spent on these and then list them at a higher value. It can take a good number of tries to get what you want still. It's still like a 1 in 40 whatever or something. It's to probably get what you want. It's not going to be a few tries. It's probably going to take about 80 divines worth of attempts, but you're making boots that are worth like hundreds of divines. So, and you're saving yourself so much time and effort to get a desired mod where otherwise like you'd be paying not what 6 divines per awakener slam right now in League, and then 3.5 div per orb of dominance, so it's like 10 div per attempt if you hit the dominance every time. And then you're also having to buy boots in a market where you're probably like gonna run out of boots to even buy. So this saves a ton of a tremendous amount of time and effort, and it's also far cheaper. It's only, I would say, about 2.2 to 2.3 divine per attempt. And then you add 6 divines to however many attempts for when you decide you want to slam the item officially. It's still going to cost you the awakener orb. 10% increased strength, huh? See, some people might need that. I don't know who would, because Alberon's Warpath exists, but it's there. That would have been an option. But we are going for suppress. Yeah, since this is an evasion-based boot, can in fact roll suppress. I'm just getting unlucky. I'm surprised we haven't seen suppress any tier yet. Typically you see suppress by now at least once of any tier, not always tier 1. So I'm probably gonna skip the video a little bit. You get the process here. I'm gonna skip the video a little bit till we find it, because this might take a little while. So see you in a bit. Okay, that was faster than I expected. So there's tier 1 suppression with projectiles pierce even. So I'm gonna slam this. Boom. We got our boot base. So now beast crafting is done. Now the best thing you can do to keep the space alive so that you don't have to worry about 6-modding your item is not use Reforge Harvest Bench in any way, shape, or form, and doing meta crafting instead. It depends on what you're looking for. For these boots, I'm assuming for Trickster, you're probably gonna want Energy Shield Hybrid. For maybe like a caster build, like an Archmage build, you'll probably want mana. And then of course you want move speed, which is gonna use a Veil Orb. So I think I'm gonna metacraft for evasion and energy shield, tier 1. And I do believe you have to go for flat because the benchcraft does not exist for flat hybrid. I will double check that. Now, since it is a suffix lock craft, you can use wild bristle matrons to add suffixes cannot be changed to these boots, as far as I'm aware. There should not be any other meta mod. Yeah. So there's only suffixes cannot be changed as a meta mod prefix, and since your suffixes are filled, Wild Bristle Matron will always give you this. And Wild Bristle Matrons are tremendously cheaper. It's just a bit more effort. So that can help you on costs if you're trying to profit craft. You should use Wild Bristle Matrons instead for this step. I'm not going to save time for sake of example, right? So what I'm gonna do is grab my exalts, grab my scours, make a bit of a dividing line, grab some annuls. I'll probably need some annuls, and should be good to go. Now all we want to do is we want suffixes on our bench, and then we want to block mana if we're going for energy shield. So I'm going to do 25 to 34 in parentheses. That's going to show me the minimum value, max mana. And then you can add, remove crafted mods if you want, but I'm not going to because I don't actually need it this time. And this is what we're going to do. We have an open prefix still here, so I can craft on mana and exalt. And that's just some junk. So we do suffixes cannot be changed, scour, add mana, and then double exalt. We got movement speed. So here, if you hit movement speed, you could go for the suffix lock annul. Of course, there is the odds of annulling move speed or the lock, in which case it, you know, you've spent 2 divines on nothing. So that's completely up to you, however you want to do this. And you could also settle for increased evasion energy shield if you want. Endurance charge on kill here is actually kind of crazy with a chance to elevate it. Oh no, it's tier 2. Okay. If it was tier 1, there was a chance to elevate it here, which might have been worth it. Getting endurance charge on kill might actually be quite valuable for builds going defense. But it's tier 2, which means I can only elevate it to tier 1. Not worth it, in my opinion. And I think if I suffix lock an Orb of Dominance, it respects the meta mod, but I'm not sure. I would have to fact check that. I'll probably put a note somewhere on screen right now of me uh, getting to the bottom of that, figuring out if that's true or not. Tier 2, close. Tier 2 hybrid flat, almost. So, by the way, if you block mana, you're cutting 12,000 weight. That drops your weight down to 37,000. It gives you a 1 in 37 to get what you're looking for, which is actually pretty good odds. We got flat, but wow, and increased hybrid. Both tier 2, unfortunate. Oh, is that tier 1? That's tier 1. Okay. Wow, and we got tier 3 increased evasion energy shield, which is better than the benchcraft. So what I could do here is, well, I gotta make room first. But what you could do here is just go Veil Orb this now. And if it takes the suffixes cannot be changed, congratulations, you have 6 mod boots. If it takes the evasion and energy shield, that's fine, then you can bench it on after. And if it takes evasion rating, if it takes the flat, then you're screwed and you have to kind of look for your flat again. But I'm gonna go for it. Okay, it got rid of increase, kept flat. Great. That's good. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna bench on mana to block the mana mod. And then I'm going to unveil it for movement speed. And avoid being chilled. Look at that, dude. And now all you have to do is divine this and Sacred Orbit. Which I only have 2 Sacred Orbs. That's a pretty decent roll. If I was making these for myself, I would try a bit harder. And then I can divine this a little bit. I want to divine for a higher Tailwind plus 14% suppress. Okay, that's excellent. And then if you want, you can then suffixes cannot be changed. Divine the prefixes now. Try and get 28 to maximum energy shield or 30% movement speed, whichever one you like feel is more important. I don't like the move speed roll here, even though we hit 28 energy shield. I'm going to try again. I don't like the evasion roll. Try again. That's honestly good enough, I think. 400 evasion, 96 energy shield, and then we can get increased evasion and energy shield. Till we hit 74%. How many times are we going to hit 73% before we hit 74? It's been like 5 so far. I hit 59 3 times in a row there. 61 twice in a row. There we go. 697, 167. And there you go. You got yourself a fantastic pair of Tailwind Onslaught boots with Tier 1 Suppress, Hybrid Flat Evasion, Energy Shield, Increased Movement Speed, and Hybrid Increase Benchcraft. 30% Phantom Boots. These things are great for somebody running probably Trickster, Instacker, Faldo's Mapper, or something. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. I just really wanted to share how this works because it is extremely valuable information to know that you can now use Black Morrigan as a way to help ease the pain on influenced crafting and awakener slamming. You no longer have to sell your bricks. Now you can just use morrigans to solve your whole problem. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace out.